Hello, Steve White, Trekboy89 for Steve Arts89. God, there's been a bit of Star Trek news lately that I kind of wanted to comment on, but none of it really warranted its own video or enough information to do one. So I just thought I'd do a general roundup. Now, the first little bit that I found, which was interesting, was a video that Ketwalski did. There've been a lot of rumours out of 4chan lately, which Doomcock and the Fandom Menace got on. And I saw some of these and I thought, no. The rumour about Kurtzman smashing a TV and running through the CBS studio or whatever in some tirade because they weren't giving him the funding for a show, or the Fandom Menace doing videos about him, and it's just crazy. I thought, no, this is not happening. This is just rumor, and it did seem to be created just to appease Doomcock's ego, which it seemed to do, because he actually seemed to take it seriously and did a video about it. I'm like, no, you don't actually believe that this happened. Like, if you've ever, I mean, all the interviews I've ever seen with Kurtzman, all the stuff I've ever seen of him, he's such a, I can just never picture him going on a violent rage over anything. Even if they'd cancel all his shows and fired him, I can't imagine him smashing a TV and going crazy. So I thought that's kind of ridiculous. And a lot of the other rumours, I mean, I've been with the Fandom Menace a bit because I hate Discovery and they hate Discovery. And a lot of the information on Star Wars seemed to be accurate, but a lot of their information on Star Trek seems to be inaccurate. They have said pretty much every season of Star Trek Discovery, they've said it's the last, it's been cancelled. They said the same thing about Picard, but it seems to be getting a second season. They seem to just be telling people what they want to hear. They seem to be telling people who hate Star Trek what they want to hear. I want the truth. So I sort of find myself sort of stuck in between. You've got the Ketwalskis of the world who basically think that just make excuses for Star Trek and say it's brilliant when it's not. And then you have the other side who are haters who just hate it no matter what and won't give it credit for anything, and will, I think, do make up things just because they know it's what people want to hear. It's the whole Trump approach. Just feed your base and don't actually care about anything else. Just as long as you've got them, you'll be fine. So there seems to be that, but I don't know. Sometimes I think they really believe what they're saying, and that they are doing their best to report like news based on rumors, and that based on what they hear from their sources and that. But obviously, someone on 4chan was trying to feed them a bunch of rumors just to see if they'd go with it, and they did. So that was very interesting. Trolled, it's fake. Now, the other thing that I noticed was Rick Berman went on, speaking of trolling, Rick Berman went on Twitter and said, so how's everyone liking Picard? And a lot of people took that as a, do you miss me, bitches? Because, I mean, I was okay with Berman. I felt that he basically, Gene Roddenberry put him in charge to maintain Star Trek, and he did, to a fault, where he did maintain Star Trek. He did not let anything that wasn't Star Trek go through. But at the same time, he didn't really allow for any experimentation or anything new. But he did maintain Star Trek, and you knew every episode of Star Trek would be a certain quality and feature certain elements which were worth watching. So I always respected him, and I kind of saw that there were two... Well, it's like the double-edged sword, where it's like, okay, we get this consistent universe and with this consistent show and these consistent this level of quality, but we also kind of, you always get the same things. So there was a good and a bad side to it. Sorry. My computer keeps shutting down on me when I'm like, I've got notes and things in front of me and it doesn't stay up long enough. So yeah, I think that was him basically reminding people about himself, because I was not one of the Berman haters. I respected him when the show was happening, and I was sad when Enterprise ended, and I was sort of wondering who would take over. At first, I assumed he would come back to do the next series. I assumed there would be one in a few years. Then, when I heard about the films and they were going to do a series based on the films, that universe, I sort of thought, well, that would be J.J. Abrams or Kurtzman or someone. So, and at the time, I didn't realize how bad Kurtzman was at his job. So, I don't know. I sort of feel Berman got a lot of crap he didn't deserve, and I think that Twitter was him just reminding people. Remember when I was in charge? Remember when Star Trek was good? Yeah. So I don't blame him for that. And there have been a lot of interesting responses to that, including some idiotic trolls. Um, Now, another thing that came out is CEO Bob Bakish. They did a quarterly thing for CBS, and they went on about a few little things like they said Picard's broke records for them, and that bar's pretty low. For total streaming and subscribers, so obviously more people watch Picard than Discovery, and more people signed up for it for that than Discovery, so that's not surprising. What was surprising though was that he said there were 2 additional TV series aside from the ones that are in production now, um, and the implication is they are unnamed Star Trek series that we haven't really heard anything about. And there have been a few things mentioned. Supposedly, Star Trek SETI Alpha and Star Trek Academy have been the titles for them have been updated or whatever. So they are I've forgotten the name of the what is it? Not the it's totally gone. Sorry. Um, But yeah, I was under the impression that one of them was the Nickelodeon series, and the other one was Section 31. But people are implying that they're actually other series, and so people like I think Kowalski said, SETI Alpha and Academy were both names that were registered. So I'm not sure what we're going to get, or if we're getting anything, or if these meetings are just talking things up for the investors that aren't ever going to happen. Um, and the other thing that they were going on about, which was kind of interesting, was oh, actually no, I'll go to this first. Will Wheaton is basically doing a live podcast show, sort of taking over from After Trek, which apparently went to Facebook for the second season. I never saw that. I heard about it, but then couldn't find it. But they're apparently going to do a live podcast show, and the idea is to be more more interactive with the Star Trek community. And what was it? There was something else I wanted to talk about. Where is it in my notes? I think I'm done. Oh, the flag. The image. There is an image of Discovery Season 3. I don't know why I didn't write that down. That came out. I thought there were more images, but there was just that one. And it's in some banner on CBS somewhere, and it's so awful. Basically, it's some of the crew members plus the 2 new cast members standing on a hill holding up a tattered flag of what remained of the Federation, I guess, which is a small amount of stars in the middle of the flag, because apparently they were so isolationist in the end that they only had a few members. And they're standing holding this flag up like they're saving the Federation, which they destroyed. Discovery destroyed the Federation and Star Trek, and what, they're going to save it? Is that what what this is? They couldn't create anything interesting, or they couldn't achieve anything, so they thought, we'll just destroy what already existed and then build it back up, and then act like we're the heroes and act like we invented it or something. I mean, just the image itself, I mean, it's not Star Trek. What is Star Trek about a bunch of people dressed in dark clothes, like they're a bunch of renegades, hiding around in dark corners of dodgy spaceports or something. Like, you just get that sort of image of the characters being like that. They're not members of Starfleet. They're not in uniform. They're not. It just looks like crap, and it just looks like just baffling. Just baffling. Everything that's wrong about Star Trek. Everything they could do wrong, they seem to be doing. I mean, they seem to just be, everything seems to just be trying to get the general audience, and doing that by just rehashing everything that's already been done or is being done by other people. And one thing that Gene said, and one thing that Rick Berman, I think, continued, was the idea that, is this Star Trek? What is unique about this? Like, when they were putting together shows, they would, the idea would be, this has to be something you could only see on Star Trek. You know, if it was a story that could have been done on any other show, they wouldn't do it. Whereas now it's like the opposite. It's like they take every story from every other show and try and do it on Star Trek to make it like appeal to just anyone and everyone. And it just makes it not Star Trek, makes it unspecial, just makes it unremarkable. And this image is just the perfect image of what's wrong with Star Trek, and what's wrong with the Discovery verse and the JJ universe and the Kurtzman universe and just that whole thing. At least season 1 and 2, the artwork and the direction and the image was that it was basically, on some level, a ship out in space. If not exploring, at least dealing with a problem. This just seems to be just people just wallowing in the destruction of something and trying to rebuild something that they destroyed. And that's not Star Trek. It's to boldly go where no man's gone before, not to boldly destroy 50 years of history. And that's what they did. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it there because I don't have no energy, because they drained the life out of me, as usual. That's what Discovery does. It doesn't inspire me. New Star Trek doesn't inspire me. It doesn't make me want to live in that world or look forward to that future. It just makes me just dread dealing with it. So I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment. Comments are fun. Let me know what you think. I don't know what to think. But I just want it to get better. I want someone to come in and save it. The only good rumor from the whole 4chan thing was that Seth MacFarlane was trying to get NBC to buy Star Trek off CBS so that he could basically fix it. I wish that, it's ridiculous. It could never happen, but I wish something like that would happen. And they would just scrap everything, get rid of Kurtzman and that contract and all that stuff and that license, and just start all over again, or go back to the canon universe. That's what I wish would happen. And I think that's part of the reason why some of these rumors and the Fandom Menace and that are so popular, is because they tell people what they want to hear. And that's something I want. I want someone to come in and save Star Trek. But I think I think it's going to come, but it's a few years off. They have to drain the swamp. Okay, I'm going to go. Thanks, bye.